Calling all-star teams this week. Find out who made the cut on this week's episode of the Indie Ball Report podcast. Back again to the only podcast that will relentlessly slander the state, or rather glorified county of Delaware. This is the 279th episode of the Indie Ball Report podcast. Luckily, I don't think anyone here has ever worked for a team or organization based out of Delaware, so that's good news.
And don't bring me into this. I have no idea what we're talking about.
Well, what we're talking about this week is all-star teams. And, I'm going to at some point mention the fact that Lexington and Gastonia basically have an inverted record.
Oh, my God, boy. Lexington. I've been pretty clear before, and I know we'll talk about this later, but I've been pretty clear that the majority of their goals are off the field. But it is starting to be how does the on the field product now start affecting the off the field? And the ability to sell some tickets. Good Lord. 12 in a row right now? Yeah.
Well, we're going to get into that later on.
And forgive me, dear listeners, because I am straight off of vacation. I literally have been out of the loop for 5 days of baseball. That was intentional. Very much would like my wife to not leave me. And so I'm kind of using this podcast episode to catch up on things. Oh, we have coffee cup games going on today too. I got to get on that. Yikes. All right. Coffee cup needs an update. That's a different conversation entirely. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I think I can basically binge what's happened in the last 4 days and record a podcast at the same time, right? Right?
We're going to find out. Either way, it should be entertaining.
Huh. Wow, that's a stretch. Why would we start that now?
Fair point. So why don't we start in the American Association, being that they have started the trend that every other league is apparently doing, where we have to name full rosters for all-star games. I don't think we need to do that. I think we could go ahead, nice 15-man roster on both of these teams and get them.
It's because they actually play a game.
I don't care. 15. Let's get it going.
That's true. If I'm honest, I think you probably get by 2 position players for each position for the most part. That way, no one's playing a full game. Just split it. And then normal amount of bullpen arms. Now they say that's about 25 man roster, because you do need to basically go 1 inning per pitcher. So once you're there, if it's every position is 2 plus a DH, it's 18, then 10. That's actually a 28 man roster. So no, I have no disagreement. I'm okay with them doing what they just did.
I'm just saying we could get this done in 15, 16 max, 9 position players, 6 pitchers. Let's get it going.
Oh, fun game. Southern Rose 90 pitches in All-Star game.
You got 6 pitchers. If you use them all, then you're good.
Circling back already to another topic, Lexington is down 9-1 today.
When we talk about the Atlantic League in about a half hour, we'll discuss this.
Good Lord.
By that point, they will have lost, so it'll be okay. But any event, here's your East Division All-Stars. You'll notice a trend before I start listing these names. Certain teams are not good, but have a bunch of All-Stars. And certain teams are really good and have nearly no All-Stars. Also, for the American Association, they're doing a last man in vote. For posterity, we're recording this at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday the 10th. So I'm not going to bother listing off last man in votes, because you got to wrap that voting up. I think it's either today or tomorrow. So by the time this comes out, we'll have the last man for the roster. Next week, we'll talk about the last man that made the roster on each of these. Okay, good discussion. Also, keep in mind, if we're talking on the field, there's going to be 2 or 3 days of actual baseball in between recording this and uploading this. Keep that in mind. This is because I'm going to the beach. Ryan just got back from the beach, but I'm going to the beach now. So
it's the laziness out of the loop relay handoff here.
Exactly. See, we're efficient. That's teamwork right there.
But something like that. We're efficient. Good God. You don't got to lie to people.
We've only been recording for about 5 minutes, and we're doing pretty good so far. So I think we're doing great today.
Yeah, we're almost in our first topic.
East Division All-Star team. Catcher Jack Groshans from Cleburne. First base Jacob Teeter, Chicago. Second base Carter Alterett, Cleburne. Third base Josh Altman, Lake Country. Shortstop, Shed Long Jr. Cleburne. Outfield is Hill Alexander Cleburne, Narcisco Crook Chicago, and Brian O'Grady Cleburne. DH, Todd Lott, Kane County. Pitchers, Nate Alexander Gary, John Baker Chicago, Nick Belzer Kane County, Alan Zane Carter Lake Country, CJ Carter King County. Jesus Christ, with the county country thing, we got to get that sorted out.
It kills me.
Back to back is where it starts to get me.
Yeah.
Joey Marciano, Chicago. Jordani Mesquita?
Yeah, you're there.
Okay. Milwaukee. Chris Muller, Cleburne. Jacques Pachot, Cleburne. Mark Simon, Milwaukee. Josh Smith, Gary. Reserves are Brantley Bell, Chicago. Claudio Finol from Kane County. Ryan Hernandez from Lake Country. And Eric Ostberg from Milwaukee.
I never know how to get feedback on these things because it is like it's never really clear on like how people are like what is determining who is in, who is out. Yeah,
it's kind of vibes, but at the same time, it's like everybody's involved vibes.
Everybody's involved. No, you're right. Yeah, I'm just sort of peeking through, and it's tough because you're also trying to like cite like who do I think was snubbed, but then you got to not only look at the list, but look at who the not list, which is mostly in my brain, which is an unreliable narrator. Oh man, Ryan Hernandez, by the way, talk about a late push from a guy. What do you have, like 5 home runs in 2 games last week? Disgusting.
He wanted that Kansas City vacation.
He's like, I could go back to beautiful Kansas City, not that one, the other one.
Which, side note, did you see Kansas City put in a new field?
I did. Thank God. I mean, someone had to step in there, right?
I gotta imagine it was the league. That's
right. You can't put again. You're putting the All-Star. If I'm a team, I'm like, I'm not sending my best player there. Like to below an ACL on that thing. It's snatching ACLs. Like
rename that place after MetLife.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, they'll get you. Turf Goblins, Old Vet Stadium. Yeah. I mean, what are your initial thoughts here as I sort of still collect my thoughts I will put you on spot because you've had a couple more days to think about it. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. I definitely been thinking about this, but
yeah.
I will say, I know like D'Alessandro there is one of the guys that are the last man in. I would have said maybe someone like him. I don't see what's kind of hard is not being able to see who has played how many games at what position makes it a little bit trickier.
So difficult. I mean, you can kind of track it down for the American Atlantic, but like currently Frontier's a mess to try to figure out, and so is Pioneer. So I'm dreading that conversation, but at least we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you have a guy like, say, Tim Lott here, for example, that he doesn't feel like he should be a DH. He's not one of the best hitting guys on his team. Like a guy like Josh Allen or Cornelius Randolph, both more home runs, so slightly better power, and they're better average hitters. Allen maybe gets a little bit of an edge. He's played 10 more games than Randolph has and 3 more than Lott. So I guess Allen would be kind of the comp there. But like, if he hasn't really DH'd at all, then does he really deserve that spot? But then we counter with, it's a DH position. It literally is best hitter. So put the best hitter in, right? So like stuff like that, I don't quite know. And again, I find it interesting. Like right now, Cleveland's hot. They've won however many straight, and they've really shot up in the division. They're making it somewhat interesting. But like, is that an accurate representation of like, do they really have that many all-stars? Is it like overly so? And like, kind of like you're saying, the criteria to pick the teams is always kind of sketchy because it's a mixture of, play, deserve to be there, and also like, who's actually going to show up for this?
True. It depends on what guys seem to value. That's a different one. They're sort of a different conversation entirely, but yeah. And all these things are why I have trouble sort of having feedback on it. And that's why I kind of do my own all-star team teaser. That'll be probably this weekend or next week, depending on what I'm vibing, depending on how I try to announce these things. I hate to say just like, I don't know about an all-star team, but like, there's also things like you can only name guys who are still around. which like pulls some of like the big names out as well. I wonder why, like, okay, we have so many Cleveland guys, but like Thomas Dillard doesn't get there, but I guess that's a position match thing. I don't know.
But then again, you could
I
just
hate
toss
not
him in
having
the
a
DH
position
spot.
off the top of my head for these guys, because it might be like, but Ryan, you watch a lot of these games. I'm like, yeah, I know, but like I mean, I watch a week of games around Sailor, trying to remember how many times one guy has been right field versus first base versus DH is like nothing. There's nothing. There's no way for me to pull that off the top of my head. What thoughts do you have here? Because I can kind of, I'm trying to even filter how I feel about this stuff and where I can go with it. That for the sake of commentary, this I'm just looking at listening. Like, well, there you have it, folks.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. Like with these teams, is it's kind of in the same boat as you. Where I'm like, okay,
yeah, like these are. I don't think anyone stands out as like, oh, him.
Yeah,
I mean, I really don't. I mean, I think a lot of the guys that I'm kind of like, maybe that's a question mark. It's like, I don't know, but like, I don't want to replace. I want to burn anybody because like the number one guy I'm looking at is still almost hitting 300. So whatever. Like, what do I know? And in my head, I'm also like, is shortstop and third base like that much of a difficulty for the league at times? Like, yeah, I got weird, you know. But at the same time, here's the other issue I have. Some of these guys got a pretty good glove, and like, there's no way to quantify that with what we have available to us stat wise. So. I'm not going to use fielding percentage like some sort of method. So I don't know. Yeah. I mean, nothing stands out to me of being like, sorry, my guy made it. Like, you know, there's no obvious, sure, there might be snubs you could argue, but then you're like, all right, so who should be gone? It's like, I guess this guy or that guy, but that, you know, it's not blatant, you know, it's not like, why would this guy even be here? What are we talking about right now?
Fair enough. I've had more like
numbers are so silly, by the way.
I got more snubs. Okay, you know.
Continue.
No,
sorry.
Go on. No, go on. I was
gonna say I had to take a moment to be like, Jacob Teeter's numbers are silly, and now continue.
There's a few more snubs in the West. I'm gonna go through that team there, and then there's gonna be some notable names that I think should have been there that aren't. Now, I will admit, 2 or 3 of the names that are exempt are technically part of the last man in voting, but even still, it's like I shouldn't even be there. In the West, catcher Rob Emery from Winnipeg, first base Frankie Tostado, Kansas City, second base Jason Cruz from Winnipeg, third base Jack Dragum, Lincoln, shortstop Jordan Barth, Sioux Falls, outfield is Scott Otta from Sioux City, Josh Rewald from Sioux Falls, Aaron Takis from Lincoln, DH Luke Roskam from Lincoln, pitchers Ty Colbreth, Sioux Falls, Jake Dykov from Fargo, Davis Feldman, also from Fargo, Julian Garcia, Kansas City, Dan Kubiak, Lincoln, Kyle Marmon, Sioux City, Joey Matalovich, Winnipeg, Joey Murray, Sioux City, Travis Seabrook, Winnipeg, Nate Kellier, Kansas City, Zach Veen from Sioux Falls. Reserves are Trevor Achenbach, Sioux Falls, Ismail Alcantara from Fargo, Mike Hart, Sioux Falls, and Herbert Isner from Kansas City. So one of just the straight up guys I'm kind of surprised to not see listed anywhere would be Nagowski. Feel like he probably should have been in there.
I wonder if he had it offered, but maybe.
That's kind of what I'm thinking here.
He's a former MLB guy. I think it's more likely a former MLB guy wouldn't.
Fair.
Than others.
Brian O'Grady isn't not too good for the All-Star game, apparently.
Look, dude, I don't know.
Montano's also another guy that probably could have been in there. I will admit 35 games isn't that much, but it's the same as Mike Hart. So, like.
O'Grady's had a good year, though. I don't know. You're judging on batting average. You're seeing the 260. He's also had 16 homers.
Just saying, you know, like I'm not hating. I'm just saying, like Montano there could have gotten a spot in there. Just that's more or less my point. He's not even in the last man in voting, but yet Yeah, we got some other interesting guys. Max Murphy, also not anywhere to be seen there. Just saying.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I understand Rosecamp kind of fits two builds here because he's a catcher and you can call him a DH. But
yes.
You already have two catchers on that roster. How many catchers are you going through in an all-star game?
At a certain point, I'm like, do they need to shoehorn in a Lincoln guy?
I mean, they have what?
No, they had Tackett, though.
Tackett, Dragum,
also.
And they had Kubiak.
Yeah.
They had three other Salt Dogs. You're going to tell me the Salt Dogs have four all-stars on their team?
Though I do think they want three catchers. Again, when you're playing a game, you have to think about it differently. I think teams want to see that basically their catcher's getting an off day. He gets one at bat and he's gone. I'm just going to say from the team perspective, that's how people are feeling. You're taking a bunch of off days away from a guy for travel and then activities. I feel like we're talking summer camp.
They haven't stayed in a log cabin.
I think managers in this probably are agreeing. Like catcher in particular is one where you're going to see an outsized number of catching all-stars and same with pitching all-stars just because
I just say,
and also look at this, it's high-powered offenses. Sure, the pitching is good, but if you get one of those weird long high-scoring ones, all of a sudden your catcher's caught the equivalent of 3 innings in 1 inning. Now he's caught half a game if you're trying to give him 3 innings, actual innings. I see it.
Here's the thing, though. I can understand that thinking for pitchers because pitch counts mean something.
Mm-hmm.
For position players, that's just soft. I don't care. It's one game. It's 9 extra innings. Deal with it.
For catchers, I get it, but for other position players, I don't. But I also don't think other position players feel that strongly.
I'm sorry.
Then think about the wild cards involved with catching. It doesn't matter. The bats are still going 100%, right? Even if guys are taking it easy in the field or whatever, the at bats themselves are still 100%. And you can take 100% of a foul tip, and you can take 100% of a backswing to the side of the head. I get it, and it's also then what if you have one catcher hurt in the first or second inning, something happens, you're just precautionary, you want to take him out, and you got one guy catching 7 or 8 innings. I don't know. I get it. I get.
I still just don't see that as a big deal. Catching 7 or 8 innings, it's okay, fine, whatever. It's 7 or 8 extra innings. You're going to tell me that at the end of the year we're going to look back and go, if he didn't play in that All-Star game.
No, but
then
off
what
days
are we
matter,
talking about
man.
here?
Everyone else is getting a nice 4 or 5 days off.
More and more, I'm starting to agree
for travel.
The Atlantic League.
I know that's where I'm at too. If I'm honest with you, I think
God help me.
I know. I think I would recommend for most teams there should be an alternative, and this is I knew where this conversation was going to go the whole time. If I'm honest with you, which is going to be what we would do with the All-Star game because they don't sell well. There's going to be exceptions. I think Quebec is going to be probably electric.
Well, that's just because Quebec,
right? I think, but it's let's be honest. The Atlantic League, it was Southern Maryland's turn to have the All-Star game during 2020. It was always said they're going to get it whenever we start All-Star games again. They haven't restarted them yet. And I think if Southern Maryland really was clamoring for it, if Long Island was clamoring for it, if a couple others, it would be back. And nobody wants it. You cover costs, you cover expenses. It's not
expensive for no game.
Profitable. It's expensive to host. It's a lot. And there's other stuff that goes with it too. There's usually social events. There's usually you bring in staff from other teams as well. You bring in.
I was going to say that's another thing.
There's other baggage, for lack of a better term. Yeah. Well, it's also you bring in front office staff from every team in the league typically, and they come just for the event. And then you have players. So there's sort of a social aspect. You're paying for that. You're working sponsors for that. And yeah, it's just tough, man. I remember, I think Wilmington did a really good job with it when I was there. We hosted Carolina Leagues. And the Carolina League one's cool because it's Carolina, that might have been year one of just Carolina League All-Star game, if I recall. Because it used to be Carolina versus California, which I understand why they don't want to do that anymore with travel. But it might have just been East versus or North versus South. But
a civil war.
They did a really good job, in my opinion. And still, it was about half full. And by the 4th inning, it was quarter full. So it's just tough. to do. And I try to think of alternatives. I think American Association has that skill contest, right?
Yeah, they do.
I think that's a cool idea. That's a vibe. But I wouldn't bring everyone together for that. That's my thing. Like I've always had the idea of even you could do the home run derby as there's other ways to do the home run derby. If I'm being honest with you, like it would be, I would say you could do it. Everybody gets one or two players in, and essentially they get whatever number of swings to hit home runs. But of course, they have different ballparks. That makes it difficult. There's a way around it, but I got to figure it out. But I don't know. The better technology gets, the better you can do that with ball tracking. But I don't know. It just does feel like a bit of a exercise for what?
That's the thing.
I feel like such a buzzkill saying. I'm a fun person. I like an All-Star game. I like the MLB All-Star game. I think just for how apparently spread thin a lot of these organizations are, it's just a lot to try to do.
Yeah.
But you can still name a team which still spotlights the guys. You know what I mean? Yeah. Still gets them in Baseball America.
I'm still just like in the camp of two. When you think about the marketing resource, you got to push towards getting this thing marketed, which is a really hard sell. And the fact you're given like what, a Monday, Tuesday date, like, because nobody wants to give up real dates for this.
That's the thing. Nobody wants to give up the weekend. So yeah, it's going to be on a damn Tuesday night or something every time.
Yeah. And what makes it worse is if you're giving up that date, at least if you're hosting, you still have something, but everybody else is getting screwed. So now you got that resentment building up there.
Yeah. I mean, if it rotates, it's fine, but it is. That's why they have to do a weekday because nobody just wants to sit. Honestly, teams are happy enough to sit with nothing on a midweek. Yeah. Most teams are just surviving midweek. It is just try to break even and then, really go for it on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights. I mean, there's a reason you don't get great promos typically on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's because they won't pay for themselves. Like even with the uptick in potential uptick in attendance, I should say, there's, it's still a 20% bump on a Tuesday night versus what you'd normally expect could only be 200, 300 people versus 20% bump on a weekend, which could be, 1,000 people. No. Anyway, boy, did we get in the weeds on that one. This went off the field quick.
But it really just goes back to the point of just like these All-Star games, man, they're really tough to sell. And you start getting these questionable decisions like Ozzie Martinez is in the last minute in voting, but he shouldn't be there. There's a lot of guys here in the West. It's like, what are we doing with this? And you have to assume a lot of it is these guys wanted to be there. And then, like you said, you got to come up with non-offensive roster construction, which really doesn't give you true all-stars. And if you're not having true all-stars, then what the hell's the point in doing this?
I can't disagree. I'm with you totally.
I'd almost rather see the Atlantic League start a couple weeks earlier so they can end at the same time as everybody else and just put a week in at the end of the year for just head-to-head competition, make it a best of three. Just do the idea that I wanted for forever with the actual best talent there so they can get in before winter ball.
Well, I mean, I've always had the alternative too of do it a midweek thing. Basically take a Monday through Thursday off. As I said, most teams will not mind that, honestly. Yeah. Most organizations take the Monday through Thursday and do every team's all-star team, one all-star team for each league.
Yeah.
And they show up to a designated point, whatever town, whatever ballpark is hosting. Yeah. And they do 2 games each. They do, random draw. So maybe American plays Atlantic League on Saturday and Frontier plays Pioneer on Saturday. And then the winners play each other and the consolation match happens on Sunday as well. Everyone gets 2 games. And it's not necessarily a all-star tournament. It's an all-star showcase tournament. You do it that way. And as I've said, I mean, I don't think there's as much reason as there used to be. There used to be a lot of scouts who'd show up to the all-star game for Carolina League. I remember that. And that's obviously, because those things also happen right before the trade deadline. So that helps. Yeah. But, there is, these all-star games, I do think, I mean, you see scouts enough at indie ball games that they'll show up, but I just don't think there's enough to pull people in. But if they're saying that you got with all the different offerings, that the American Association offers a different type of player than every other league, and you can say that for any team, especially the team like Pioneer where they have the younger guys, you can. If I'm a scout, that is far more worth me traveling to for a weekend to see 4 teams. You're going to see basically everybody get a shot. You're going to see multiple at-bats for guys. And for, your Pioneer League guys, you can start to see and extrapolate off of, maybe they're pitching to Atlantic League competition. Like, are they getting a couple punchies against guys who might be considered double or triple A talent right now, even if the pitcher himself isn't?
Yeah.
I think that brings a lot more to the table. It encourages attendance. And, is it, again, I think leagues would have to foot their own bill and expenses would be higher with multiple games, but also I think you'd see an uptick in attendance and it's a little bit easier to maybe spread the losses even. And I think it's at least a cool event that might get indie will talk about if you market it intelligently. So sorry.
The only counter I would have to that though is if you're one of those more AA, AAA talent guys, do you want to roll the dice on getting punched out twice by a Pioneer League pitcher?
Here's why it would never happen. And while I don't think that's as bad of a thing, I mean, hell, what's his face just struck out Shohei the other night. Position player got him. But
yeah, wait, and there's the other guy that got him too, where I made the tweet about it. Oh,
yeah. I mean, look,
what's it, Bevins?
Shohei Evans might have been.
I think Spence. Yeah, Spence got him.
Yes. Oh no, that wasn't what I was talking about. The position player got Shohei there.
Oh, really?
But okay, let's talk about this. So Shohei has been struck out just by talking about people that we kind of vibe with.
Yeah.
Bivens, which Bivens, get after it, love it.
Yeah.
By a position player, by Todd Van Steensel, shout out Todd Van Steensel, and by that random Czech pitcher who was like had a crazy story of like some random day job. He's like a plumber or something. Like, do we think any less of Shohei? I think most good scouts understand. I think most scouts at least understand it. Most players understand that anybody can get anybody any given day, but it's about the stuff that you're seeing. And I think, I don't know. But to my point, I think, unfortunately, the holdup, and I think the American Association's a little more down. I'm giving them maybe too much credit, but I think they would be. I think the Atlantic League would be the main holdup here. I think the Atlantic League struggles with some insecurities when it comes to things like, with being the best indie league. Though not that American Association doesn't. We see that, but they're more like they're trying to punch up. So I think the Atlantic League, not only, I don't think they're necessarily scared of if they lose to the American Association. I think they're more like they know if they lose to the American Association is going to put it in every ad ever. Like it's going to be for the next year, which is also kind of getting a little annoying from the American Association, but sure. But that's a different combo. I think that is what we're doing. Buddy, I know. Everybody's scared. Everybody's like, please don't bring the entire Paddleheads team out here.
It's Mike Schlatt and friends.
Schlatt and friends. Not a bad vibe.
Live from the Oakland Coliseum.
Honestly, not bad energy. That is unfortunately why I don't think it will happen. I think the leagues, the same reason that we can't get anything else going between the leagues is because they're too competitive and weird with each other. I think that would also be what kills this. But I think realistically, it could be the best for the best solution to the All-Star question, though I'm not sure if it's the best solution to the bigger questions for every league.
So the final solution to the All-Star question.
Hope everybody wanted to hear about these teams. So dumb.
Anything else in the American Association? We had a state house rep kind of embarrass Milwaukee, which was kind of cool to see.
Jesus, Milwaukee, what are we doing? Like, and shout out to, I'll get his name.
I have it because I follow him and he follows the show.
Thank you.
Oh, no, don't thank me. I'm letting you struggle on it.
Oh, you D-hay.
Actually, it's
JD. I might follow him if I'm honest.
Schulten.
Yeah.
JD Schulten.
Do I not? Let me see.
Now we're on the Instagram portion of today's show.
Yeah, right. Never mind. But yeah, one is cool. Very cool.
Yeah, cool story.
Still got it. And like it's not like some rando, like, you know, he did pitch, but it was
he has a baseball reference page.
Yeah, right, exactly. This isn't his first entry, but Yeah. In Milwaukee, you do got to kind of get together here, boys. Like, I get not having a scouting report and all that, but like, this was multiple turns through the order. Like, guys, come on now. I need something.
Coming from the guy that said anybody can have a day.
Anybody can have a day, but like, well, anybody can have a moment is more the question.
Yeah.
Because like striking out Shohei once, we're not saying that Shohei took a full offer here. Like, we're saying like this was a little tough for the boys there.
It's a bad look to go.
Do I have to do this? I'll do it. I'm
Dixon,
looking.
2/3, 2 runs, 2 strikeouts. It's a great line.
Yeah.
Phenomenal line. But
I mean, and I know things, oh my God. Yeah, it's, this happened a little more recently than I thought. I don't know why. I lost track of all dates while I was out. I mean, this was a bullpen game for them, if I recall, for Milwaukee. But to the point, Milwaukee got 9 hits on the day, not bad, but like a bunch of offers in there. It was 4 2-hit games, which is kind of what we're seeing in Milwaukee. Like, I think we've talked about before, it's just a lineup that isn't going to consistently get it done, and that's sort of what's killing them. That's kind of very Milwaukee game, is 9 hits spread over 5 batters, with 4 of them having 2-hit games. Yeah. Weird. It's a weird year for them.
Yeah, and honestly, the whole league has been weird. It feels like, hasn't it felt like one of those years where it's just like no one's really standing out?
I feel like everybody's in between a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, if you can take that for a lot of things, like Lincoln seems to be in between. What are they doing right now? They have a manager who's of a high caliber, but like the organization themselves seems to be stuck in like first gear, and the Monarchs seem to be stuck between being the Monarchs and like trying to reload. So now they're weirdly in 5th place. Sioux City and Winnipeg are all kind of like, are they legit or are they not? They show flashes and then they look like they look a step away, but there's no interest in showing the step, like, or making that step. And then the same could be said for Milwaukee, Chicago. I mean, Cleveland seems to be the one going for it, funny enough, because I would even say King County, I'm not even sure what to make of them.
Well, I mean, Cleveland makes sense because, I mean, Pete.
Right. And Lake Country seems to, again, be like an in-between team. Like, this is their start of the turnaround, sort of. But hopefully, right? Yeah. I mean, we just talked about them, but I had more positive feelings, but they're now 3 out of the last 10. So, yeah, it's weird. You're right. It's sort of an in-between sort of funky year.
Yeah.
Any state rep can get you on any given day in that league.
We want to go to the Atlantic League now, a league that doesn't get popped by politicians.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. They also have an all-star team out.
Yes, they do.
They don't play games, though. But their team, which I appreciate this, 1 per position. That's what we like to see. Let's go through this. Exactly. Nice and simple. Efficiency. Catcher, Cole Cottom, Lexington. First base, David Washington, York. Second base, Matt Botcher, Lexington. Third base, Christian Santana, Lancaster. Shortstop, Matt McDermott, York. Outfield is Tyler Dearden, Long Island. Donovan Casey, York, who was unanimously voted in. And then Josh Stowers, Gastonia. Then we have the DH position being Frank Schwindel, Long Island. Aaron Leisure is the starting pitcher from Staten Island. Relief pitcher, Phoenix Sanders, great name, Gastonia. Mm-hmm. And closer is Matt Seelinger from Long Island.
Yeah, I'm just comparing it to my list, if I'm honest.
The correct list, really.
Shut up. Let me see. I'm going to have to go. And I'm going to have to play a little bit of catch up here, but I'm just trying to compare 1-to-1. I've had some. My list isn't perfect. I'm going to be the first one to say my list ain't perfect. I was not. I debated pretty aggressively over it because we got weird things like David Washington, who like obviously putting up numbers, but also like that's so many strikeouts. Like it like really hurts his value. Like, oh my God! Of course,
and now, buddy.
Sure, I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but yes, I've told you I'm not straight up like just analytics all the way here. Oh man. Yeah, McDermott I had around. Botcher, I agree with. Washington. Cole Cottom. I mean, obviously, Cole Cottom's ridiculous, man.
Got him.
Cannot believe just still bouncing around. Santana, obvious. I do. This also does bring into the forefront not having a game relieves the pressure to name guys who are still around and can play, and like the reduction in quality that comes with that. And I think that's good. And I think if they were to do one, I think the right thing to do is have an all-star team and then have like the alternate list, like the list of like he made the all-star game as an alternate. Like I think that's a fine distinction. So something to be proud of. Yeah, still get a chance if you're playing a game to like get after it and show that you can hang. But it should be noted that like certain guys, because like it's dumb because there are certain guys who are out there who will have multiple all-star teams for a league, but then the one year they don't, and you realize it's just because he got like signed for like a month in the middle of the year, and that's when the all-star team was. So weird, but like if you're worried about the resume, it's kind of a thing. That's dumb. That's something only I worry about. I know, but can't take that away.
It feels like the better play would honestly be change it from a legit baseball game to something else, like how the NFL. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I've had that idea for a long time.
Yeah, like it feels like that'd be better, right? Or it's like, okay, how about we just bring like 5 or 7 players in total to this event, or bring 21 guys? I don't know, 28 guys in total. We name an actual legit all-star team, but then we bring in like the fun team, and it's just vibes.
Who is going to step up and put their all-star team against the Bananas?
That's
if
really
we're realistic. That's what it should be.
I think that's the idea we had last year when we discussed this.
Did we?
We had this discussion last year.
I thought it was creative. That maybe the idea came to me a little too easy. That's fair.
It was fair.
I will say all 8 position players also made my team. They're not necessarily as starters. So there you go. In fact, the only starters I fully agree with. No, that's a lie. The 3 guys I wouldn't have had as starters would be Schwindel, Dearden, and Botcher.
All right, Stower's in there.
Yeah, as one of the 3 outfielders. Yeah.
Okay.
A little teaser of what I had going on. I had Cottom, Santana, Stowers. Oh my God, hold on. This one's also a mess. Classic.
Typical Ryan.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, you live by the spreadsheet. You have the spreadsheet.
That's why I don't live by him.
Do you even? No, I'm not even gonna get in this. Let's see.
You're digging for spreadsheet.
Okay, I got it. McDermott, Casey, Washington. I had Stowers. I had Cottom, Santana. And then who were the other randoms? I cancel. Yeah. No, I had McDermott. I think that's my.
Oh, not Gabriel Cancel.
Yeah.
Who's been off to a hot streak in AAA, by the way.
I know, dude. He looks great. Lansky,
Call him up, Toronto.
Third baseman. Wiley was my second baseman.
Right.
And
Coyote?
Yes, sir.
Good.
You would hate him because he doesn't hit for average. I'm missing an outfielder. Who was it? I think it was Jackie Bradley.
Okay.
Jackie Bradley's been absurd.
Well then. At the risk of getting bogged down further on All-Star talk,
sorry.
Do we want to move along to like any other Atlantic League discussion?
Sure. I will also note, hey, Ryan didn't mention pitchers. That's because I didn't make a decision yet, and then I went on vacation. Whoops. I'll get there.
Such a lazy bastard. But
sitting on a beach. Idiot.
No.
Who could possibly be into doing that in the next several days?
Really? What kind of guy would do that?
Sort of clown.
But it's a degenerate, really. But yes, Gastonia and York inverted. Gastonia and York, no, they're not inverted. They're both first half champions. Good for them. We knew that was happening. Good for them.
Pick me. Can we discuss? Is it 1, 2? There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 players named from the South Division, and 2 of them are legends.
I was going to say there's a disturbing lack of Gastonia in there, and actually now seeing there's no high point in there, that's kind of interesting.
I would love to know more, and I'm sure I will find out soon.
We're talking about on the field play now.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
First half champions.
York did a good job. They did a really good graphic on that thing they posted the other day, and it did get my attention. Some things that have been going over my head, if I'm being honest with you, or under my radar. Either one.
Yeah. Do we want to go there, or do we want to bury a team first?
Let's stay up with it real quick.
Oh man,
because we've been talking All-Stars.
But Lexington just got their 50th loss of the season.
Bro, they are 50 and the 17 and 50. I'm guessing it's 50 and 17. I don't understand.
49 and 17. They still got to beat up on the Dirty
Birds. Are they
Birds.
winning right now?
They're winning, but they're not.
It's not over. Okay.
Yeah. Top of the 8th. 5-run game, so it should be done, but still.
It should be, yeah. But by the end of the day, it's going to be a different record anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just want to point out that really under the radar has been York's stolen base situation.
Yes.
186, 53 more than anyone else in the league right now. Only 18 caught stealing, which is what are we doing?
Yeah. We're stealing back. That's what we're doing, Ryan.
Dude, playing some ball out here. 91% success rate on stolen bases. I got to make a chart on that one. Meanwhile, the Ducks are 50. Oh my God. What is their situation?
They're under
They're
500.
like 71% stolen bases. Yeah, it's just crazy to me. 186. And they've already, have they now passed their record already forever? Like they were three off of their record at Midway, which is hilarious. Stolen bases, 182 so far. The franchise record's 188. They have since stolen 4 more. So they're 2 away from their franchise record mid-season. Let's see. They've scored 80 more runs than any other team in the league. But again, let's add to this. They are beating the pee out of some teams I'm not going to take away from the numbers because there have been road warrior seasons, and this is not that. However, Hagerstown's struggling. They played Hagerstown a bunch. Long Island is not the Long Island of old, and Staten Island is funky. But yeah, man, they are just that stolen base streak is going to be interesting. What did Gastonia do a couple years back? And then we'll move on from this. But
I don't remember.
I think 2 years ago. So I'm scrolling back and pull it real quick. Gastonia stole 305, so they are on pace to murder that record. They're on pace to go 360.
Do they just like straight up copy the homework?
Yeah, just like a year or two behind. It's kind of amazing.
I kind of feel like that's what's happening here. Same blueprint plan. So,
I will say now Gastonia did it with about an 80% success rate, and York's sitting over 90 right now, which is unreal. Wow. But that's a different thing entirely. I've noted that caught stealing percentage is down across the league, but that does not explain. The last one I'll note is Gastonia's list of impressive first half things. And I'll kick it back to you so we can bury Lexington, and then we'll move on.
Yay.
That's a sad thing to yay. What is wrong with this?
No, this is me thing. I like burying teams.
Jesus, noted. Is this it? Yeah. Hold on. Good God.
While you're doing that, I just want to say Southern Maryland may be the most under radar 500 team.
Dude, I put them in my top 10 this week. They missed out, but I put them up there. They are not literally a top 10 team because you did not put them in, but if you did,
top 15 team in my book.
That's a choice.
Give me Missoula over them.
Oh, good God. What are we doing? Oh,
we are one more bad week of baseball away from Missoula being number 10. I want you to know that.
Gastonia had the best Atlantic League winning percentage for any half. We knew this. I know, but to make it official is pretty crazy. Yeah, we can switch it up. Where are you?
So, how is Lexington worse than Hagerstown?
Oh.
I mean, 13 in a row is not good. I mean,
tough.
like they are quite literally the inverted version of Gastonia.
Yes, this is pretty tough to see. Again, the standard was low to deem it a success, but this has been really awful.
More importantly, how do they have this many all-stars on this team?
And still be, it's because they have no pitching. We've been over this.
I mean, like, is it that bad?
It is, though. Yeah.
But, like, this is hard to be that bad.
Buddy, like, they're giving up 3/4 of a run per game more than any other team. Their ERA is almost a run higher. Or their ERA is more than half a run higher. Their runs per 9.
Like, here's the thing, though. I'm looking here, and they have some, like...
Their whip is, like, wild. They're walking 6 per 9. They're striking out less than 8 per 9. So they're leading the league in walks, and they're almost at the bottom in strikeouts.
Like, at what point do you just say, screw it, and you roll 9 different pitchers out there in one game to try and get a win to break this?
Yeah, but that means you need 9 guys who can get 3 outs reliably, which is, not sure if you noticed, not their strong suit.
I mean, like...
Also, they need to stop playing Gastonia at high points so often, because this streak has been Charleston, who's been getting hot again, Gastonia, Southern Maryland, who's been getting a little bit hot, just saying, Gastonia and High Point. So that's unfortunate. And then they go back to Gastonia, or they have Gastonia come to Lexington, then Charleston comes to Lexington, then they go to York, then they go back to Charleston. It is not until July 26th that they play a team that I would say is like presently bad.
In fairness, I mean, Staten Island is pretty much a 500 club. They're not like bad, but they're not good.
I agree. Yeah, I feel you.
And, like,
I would
even
Charleston's
still, like,
close to that, but Charleston's just been playing a little better. They've been slowly putting together some semblance of a staff. I mean, they're not right. The problem is they're not really able to hang with good teams right now, and they keep playing good teams also. Like,
wouldn't this be a neat little thing if they didn't win until they played like Lancaster or Hagerstown? And by neat, I mean horrific, to the kind of a tune of like gouging your eyes out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're that. I think this is improbable. I mean, they've had some close games. I mean, they lost a 4-3 game. They lost 17-15 to Gastonia, which is like, damn, do you put 15? Like, that's yikes.
I mean, they lost 15-5 to Gastonia.
They lost 3-2 to Southern Maryland. Like, they've had, these aren't all blowouts. There's been a bunch of blowouts. The last 3 have been rough, but like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games here have been within a run or 2. Like, yeah, I love to know what their record is in 1-run games. I'll have to figure that out at some point. But no, this team, I think, is unfortunately, while I'm also like, this streak isn't definitive, like, this is who they are. Like, literally, they're Pythagorean. Well, their Pythagorean's actually 6 games better than this, so it's just kind of wild. So that says they're 23-43. I mean, what I'm saying, you could argue from one perspective they aren't. I have we got into this a couple weeks ago, so I won't do too deep. But like my theory on Pythagorean is, a lot of people look at it and be like, oh, if your Pythagorean says you should be like 5 or 6 games better than you are, that probably just means you're having bad luck. And yeah, baseball is about luck, but I think at least half of that tends to be like putting the wrong pitchers in at the wrong time, managers, not having the staff or the, resources to win late in games. It means you're pushing a lot of close games, losing them, and then getting blown out, which is exactly what we're seeing with Lexington right now. So yeah, I mean, Lexington is the type of team where I've seen a bunch of their games where they can hang late into a game, and then the 7th, 8th inning, they just don't have enough. They do not have enough pitching. And then the other team brings in their, top end arms, so they'd stop putting up runs against them. And then from there, all of a sudden it falls apart. Sorry, you got me on a bit of a rant on that one. That was going to be your whole thing too, was beating up Lexington.
Yeah. Well, any event, that's enough on the Atlantic League, because we still have 2 other leagues to get to. Luckily, they shouldn't take that long, I don't think. Although, last point, actually, the Atlantic League, Rick Forney, 1,000 wins. Yeah,
man. Crazy. It's a lot.
And also,
so much. That's so many wins. These seasons are not that long.
I mean, really, God damn, how many years you got to be added to get to 1,000?
I know, man. Yeah.
And also to do it without really having like any down years either, because we have one year where that's just a clunker and you win like 35 games. Because keep in mind, mostly an American Association guy, like one clunker of a 35 win, 40 win year, and you're like, oh, well, we just set ourselves back a year and a half.
I mean, this is season 19. He has 14 winning seasons and 4 losing seasons so far. Crazy.
I'll take that.
But yeah, the most he's ever won in a season was last year at York, which is, of course, a longer season than he's been in. But before that, he never won more than 63 games in a season. So he's done this just like 100-game season at a time, like with a bunch of like 96-game seasons mixed in.
And the thing is, even still, like, what, a 630 winning percentage is still incredible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you really want to look at it too, hold on. Here's the one I saw is I'll redo the math real quick. It'll be quick, but he was his record, his winning percentage after the age of 50 is his record is a 574 winning percentage after the age of 50. Like, cool. That works.
He just kind of sticks with the times. Good for the guys.
Yeah. And it's funny because before that, he had the 2 bad Winnipeg seasons where I think a lot of people, maybe even including us, are kind of like, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time. And he just goes and just rips a 53 win season with Winnipeg, a 71 winner with York, and he's already got 43 this year.
Like
he's on
Paul
pace
Maurice, he just need to get out of Winnipeg, change the scenery.
I mean, they are, they've been
on that
timeline more recently, but
with that in mind, congratulations on York beating Gastonia to win the championship this year.
Right. Good. Yes. 82 wins. That's the pace he's on this year.
Not bad.
That'll play. Most will take that.
Yeah.
Out of 126 game set. Woo.
And the last thing is, you see Mike Ashmore talking about Jimmy Hurst's passing, and then directly being like, I'm not surprised with the Atlantic League.
Dude, getting a shot from Mike Ashmore is like, he plays pretty damn nicely in the sandbox.
Yeah. And then it's just like, I'm not surprised.
Damn, just buried. Good Lord.
Which, just again, we want to remind you, still are waiting for the conclusion of the 25th anniversary team.
Will it be? It's like the ongoing, like, I want to say Batman just to generalize, but like those old like superhero shows where it's like maybe next week it'll be like the ongoing, like the big bad, like the big villain, and just always hang around. Maybe it's next week's the big showdown, and then you'll end up fighting like some minion. Like
it's another villain.
It is the ongoing thing. Maybe tune in next week when maybe we'll see whatever. Like, or will so and so will the Atlantic League finally give us the end of the 25th anniversary team? Tune in next week.
Any event. Frontier League. They also have an all-star game. Yay. So many all-star games. In the East, we have catching John Cristiano from New England. First base, Dalton Combs, Three Rivers. Second base, Corey Acton, Sussex County. Third base, AJ Wright, Ottawa. Shortstop, Austin Dennis, New York. Outfield, David Finsky, New York. LP Peltier, Three Rivers, and Justin Gideon, Quebec. Pitching, Brandon Backman, New York. Erasmo Pinales, Ottawa. Ryan Sandberg, Quebec. Tucker Smith, Three Rivers. Frank Monticello, Quebec. Blaine Traxel, New York. Dylan Smith, New York. Yuhai Sako from New Jersey. Grant Larson, Ottawa. Reserves are Oscar Campos from Tri-City. Joe DeLuca, New York. Peyton Isaacson, New York. Yasmiel Valentin, Quebec. Chris Quitzer, New York. Kyle Kroll, Quebec. And Rafael Gladu, Three Rivers. Coaching the East is Patrick Scalabrini, Quebec. Lachlan Fontaine, Quebec. And Dan Sauceville, New England.
All right, I'm going to be really forward with this. I don't have as many opinions. I saw the Atlantic League or the Atlantic League roster come out like as I was leaving for vacation. I saw the American Association one while I was gone because I just happened to be online at the time. And then the Frontier League, I was like totally not something I could look at right now. So I'm going just off vibes essentially.
That's what I do every week.
So I want to shout out on the Frontier League like All-Star festivities. The headline 2024 All-Star roster additions announced. There's a QR code. I'm sure it's not the only time they've done it, but it goes straight to tickets. That's good work. That's proper use of a QR code, as long as on the mobile site you have a link. I don't know. I feel like you probably don't, but very nicely done. That's smart execution, good marketing.
That reminds me here.
Easy.
Let me mention those recent additions as well before I forget that. I didn't write them down. Outfield, Austin White, New England Knockouts. Mm-hmm. Outfield, Jonathan Lacroix, Quebec Capitals, and James Bradwell, Quebec Capitals, as a pitcher. So
there's also a ton of West ones, and I want to bring up before we jump in. Do we think this is because of visa stuff? Probably, right?
I imagine it's largely visa, and I imagine
it's maybe not willing to travel.
Yeah, that was the main thing that came to my mind immediately.
Yeah, it's such a long distance, man. I mean, I'm sure, and also it's a flight, I'm sure, but if there's a guy you're not sure about going, then you probably don't want to fly them. Like, I get it. I'm not going to hate on that choice. That is the roll of dice I give with the Quebec All-Star game, but I still love the gift to Quebec vibes.
Yes. As far as East vibes, any sort of major vibe from there?
Yes, though they just put up 12 runs in an inning. Jesus, New England.
Whoa, wait. Who did they do that to? I didn't see who they played.
Yeah, I forgot that box score. Hold on 1 sec here. I can get you.
Evansville.
That's right, Evansville, guys.
We have to have a discussion, boys.
Chris, are we okay?
Someone sent a welfare check for him.
Dude, a welfare check is different than I guess it is the same phrasing, isn't it? That's weird. Huh. Talk about things that mean multiple things. That's tough. Evansville, we're gonna have to have an Evansville conversation. You were very right about that. Maybe it is a lot of knockouts, but to be fair, the people around Knockouts organization aren't ones for counting. They're big on inflating some numbers.
Speaking of inflating,
good out for that one this week, by the way.
I mean, did you see Florence was tagging New Jersey for that?
Dude, you saw my response.
Yeah, dude, chill.
Someone from Sussex also liked it. I think tag someone on staff who liked it. Dude, interesting developments over there in the Frontier. I love it, dude. Like, let's get aggressive out here. I don't mind teams not liking each other as long as it doesn't hold the league back, which it could be. But I think the Frontier is holding itself back.
You mean to tell me the Frontier League is not being held back?
What I'm telling you is I think Florence goes all in and works really hard to bring people in. And I think that probably a team like Florence would get annoyed seeing the free pass given to a lot of the teams over on the East that it's happening right now. And they're like, we would love that. I can't imagine what Tri-City must think about all this. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's again, we'll do a different conversation about New England, but I don't know. Well, maybe next week might need to be the conversation because I think that video should come out this week unless I get new info. But that's, dude.
It is a situation up there. And like,
if there's anybody in Brockton who would like to, or in the New England Knockouts area, by the way, who would like to perhaps have a house guest for a couple of days, message me. Indie Ball Nation. Trying to get up there before this thing shuts down. Hate to be that guy.
Oh god, but yeah, and like here's the thing with Florence too, and then I'll go back to also discussion. I think they rub some people the wrong way because it's like, wow, this like sub 500 team's getting really aggressive, and like on some level, I agree. Like,
right,
there's a certain amount of shit you can talk when you have a losing record, but at the same point in time, a lot of it's just playful stuff back and forth.
Right.
Like, I like how they were going at the boulders a little bit. I thought that was fun.
The clip art, and you see the boulders get them back?
Yeah, with the L. Yeah.
That was so good with the L. That was funny. That was really good banter from both. That was impressive.
I thought that was pretty good. I liked that one. And
it's so... the reason I like the L's is they don't get, like, snippy. They didn't get, like, snippy out... Like, they didn't get out of pocket about the... the L tweet. Sorry, they took me saying final words. There's some teams who can like dish it, they can't take it, which drives me nuts. And I don't find them to be that way, which is kind of fun.
They understand the game they're playing.
I'm just looking here. Gateway to Quebec, for the record, is a 20-hour drive if you're interested in that kind of thing. Or a roughly 5-hour flight. 5.5-hour flight.
I'm seeing
that's not fun either, dude.
Like, this is why they're dropping, dude. I don't think it's visa. I think it's just straight up they don't want to go.
I think you're right. And that's, you take I got named, and that's cool. I mean,
honor, but unfortunately,
this had to be known, that I'm sure teams mentioned it beforehand. Like, they probably have some guys that there's like not trying to send, and Quebec can't be mad. They can fit a couple extra Quebec guys in if it's an East division team. If it's the West, well, they can fit a couple guys, and a lot of Lake Erie guys getting in now. You know what I mean? Like 3 Lake Erie guys as replacements.
That's the thing too, where it's like
Evansville, Washington, all of the replacements other than one Windy City guys, Lake Erie, Schaumburg, okay.
No, the point is gonna die.
Well, there's one Gateway guy in there also, so I should shut my damn mouth.
Okay. And there's an Evansville guy in there.
Evansville's more East than you think. In the scheme of the West Division. In the scheme of the West Division, I mean.
Yeah. Want to just talk about that West Division team right now? We haven't listed off the West Division.
Evansville's a little more under Chicago than I remembered.
While you're getting a refresher on,
stupid, dude.
While you're getting a refresher on geography, I'm going to actually list the players that are on this team.
Thank you. Go for it.
All right. Catcher, Alfredo Gonzalez, Lake Erie. First base, Matthew Workentine, Joliet. Second base, Alex Craig, Schaumburg. Third base, DJ Stewart, Gateway. Shortstop, Tyler DePreta Johnson, Joliet. Outfielders are Christian Fedko, Schaumburg. TJ Reeves, Florence, and Hank Zeister, Florence. Pitchers are Jack Eisenbarger from Lake Erie, Windy City's Buddy Hindell, Cole Cook from Joliet. Oh, this isn't going to go well. Jeonju Kim?
Sure.
We'll go with that. From Washington. Also from Washington, Zach Kirby and Kobe Foster. Christian Scaffetti from Lake Erie. Also from Lake Erie, Anthony Escobar and Trevor Tunkel.
Yes.
Go with that.
Yeah.
And then the reserves are Sergio Gutierrez from Florence, Drew Strengren from Joliet, David Mendham from Evansville, Gabe Holt from Gateway, Brian Fuentes from Florence, Abdel Diaz from Gateway, and Caleb McNeely from Washington. Coaching the West is Jared Lemieux from Lake Erie, Alex Boschers from Washington, and Craig Massey from Florence. The roster additions here: John Tusillo from Lake Erie, Christian Kuzmenka from Windy City. Yeah, Kuzemka. Ed Johnson from Florence, Logan Thomason from Lake Erie. Did they just misspell Thompson, or is it actually Thomason?
Thomason.
Okay. Jared Watkins. You can never tell with these things. Jared Watkins from Lake Erie.
A lot of box scores, my guy. I'm so too far in.
Yeah. Chase Dawson from Schaumburg. Lucas Weinbergs from Gateway. Ben Terwilliger from Florence. Zach Smith from Evansville. And Christian James from Washington. That's basically a new team. Actually, you could fill out the whole infield and an outfield spot and have enough pitchers for one game. Name 2 other outfielders. Have this as a B team or a C team so that we could have a 3-way playoff.
I once again need to ask you to stop asking for a 3-way. Where were we?
One day
I would say, I hate it. I knew you were going to say something horrifying. Let's see. Again, I struggle to have a lot of feedback on this one. Mainly, I had more, I guess, for the Atlantic League because I had already done my All-Star team for them. And for the Frontier League, I am really just processing this as we see it. I'm trying to think of who isn't here, which is difficult. Seems fine, and I do kind of appreciate that they give justifications for the guys they pick up, which is funny. And if you're not, sorry for those listening, that the list when it's posted also comes with a note on basically it's not expressly to give the reason why, but it is sort of like, this is why we picked this dude.
It was like, here's a
in case
player
you're looking
with
at
a
this
player.
little side, but that's also not a bad idea. I mean, if you're trying to promote this game, also, you know, saying this isn't just the list of names that you're going to go see. This is list of names and why you should care to see them. So I get that. Again, smart way to go about it. But yeah, you know, I'll definitely have more thoughts. You know, next week I think we'll probably have more Pioneer League thoughts as well when they do their. So I might have to do a little revisit. Maybe we'll even use the opportunity of me doing my All Stars to like talk about why I felt certain guys over other ones and talk about a little more on the field action on that one. Buddy Pindle, sorry, just yeah, that's a vibe. I guess that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much. Did you have anything that stuck with you off the jump here?
Yes, we're seeing a lot of replacements coming through here. I mean, I think that speaks volumes as to
okay.
you know how many don't want to go up there, but like even still don't really care. Atmosphere is going to be good, so that's what matters.
True. And you know, we don't know how guys are feeling too. Like I noticed there's a lot of relievers who've stepped, or a lot of relievers and starters, honestly, who've stepped back. But these are also guys who have mostly thrown more innings than I would. But like I did a quick look at Baseball Reference to compare. These are guys, most of them have thrown above league average innings so far this year. So I could also see if you're a pitcher not only embracing that travel, but also then having to throw more innings, then hit the road again. And then probably, you know, your team's going to want you. Every other team, the opponent you're going against is going to be fresh. They would love to have their all-stars fresh as well. So it sucks when you get a guy back from the All-Star game and feel like you need to give him a day off, which I think the Phillies had to do not long ago with some Schwarber. Might have been Schwarber, which not exactly a cardio king, but you know.
Let's just get some general Frontier League thoughts. Obviously, we're going to avoid talking too much about play because out of date. But Lake Erie's doing really good. Washington's doing really good. They're kind of the class of the West and really class of the league at the moment. The race there for that final wild card spot's getting kind of interesting, though. That could turn into something, but everything else in the West is pretty.
Yes, I agree. It is going to come down to like what happens to that race, probably. Just looking West Division, you're right. I mean, God, I'd love for Joliet to start to get together, but every time they show a flash of something, it just feels like it disappears. You know, I think they're a multi-year project, not necessarily looking for this year. I think if you look at that roster, there's been a lot of moves to like set up like down the road guys, like based on the roster restrictions. So I see what's happening, but boy, for the entertainment, it would be nice to have them make a bigger push. Florence, I keep wanting to think they're getting it together, though I think it's just Evansville, Windy City settling further. But yeah, at the top, that Washington Lake Erie race is really interesting, isn't it? Like it's fun to watch. Which is good. I mean, I like having a good race.
And they're both kind of built
that is for something. That is for something, by the way, too, because Gateway or Schaumburg is not necessarily a comfortable series. That's not necessarily fun.
Oh, it's a one-game playoff too, so that makes it work.
So who knows what that's going to look like? So the reward is massive for winning that division, especially for Washington, which is easternmost. So who knows? I guess they're traveling to you in that case, but still, it's a headache. Dang, it just got windy up in my place. All right, anyway. That is a big, huge Easter egg for anybody in Eastern PA who just got a big gust of wind around 3 on Wednesday and remembers it while they're listening on Saturday.
323 to be exact.
323. So yeah, that's my thought on that. I mean, the East Division's kind of, I think it's fast.
Three still suck, and
Tri-City doing all they can, going on a 9-game heater, and then still ending up 4 games behind Ottawa for last playoff spot is rough. That is rough.
Yeah, the Canadian teams are really just doing it this year. Honestly,
do the Canadians sweep this playoff?
Here's if New York keeps struggling, I mean, 3-7 in the last 10 at the time that we're recording this. I mean, they're opening the door to it.
We'll be recording probably 8 days from now. There's a chance that this is all Canada in the Eastern playoffs by the time that happens.
Like selfishly, I want New York there because I want to be able to cover a playoff game. But at the same point in time, like I do think it'd be kind of good if all the Canadian teams were in. Here's why.
Here's why I'm in favor of it. I think they're all working hard, dude. Like Quebec is obviously Quebec. They're always going for it. Ottawa really put in a concerted effort to go for it this year. And I think Trois-Rivières has really stepped up. Remember, they said last year's results were not okay. And they have stepped up. Like they really did. Like when I saw that, I was like, that's a weird thing to say. I don't know. But so far, man, 570-ish winning percentage right now.
I respect that from an organization, though.
New
to go
York,
ahead and publicly call that out and then actually make meaningful change.
right. And it says something interesting about their fan base, because that is a fan base I don't know a ton about, despite me playing so much out of the park baseball for them. I don't know a ton about them, but it says that if they felt like their fan base was being negatively impacted by this, that says something. Because I don't think most teams have a season like this and draw any attention to it. They say, well, whatever, we'll just sell the 3 players, their stars, and bring in some old MLB guy that people know. Yeah. On the flip, I mean, New York, that would suck for them if they fall out of this, because they did do a lot of the right stuff. If they fall apart, that is a bummer. But also, we sounded the alarm on them early because they were getting basically the softest schedule imaginable. So it's not totally out of pocket. If the crowd that misses this is Tri-City, which we've had some question marks about, but I do appreciate the Tri-City tries. But I think I'm okay. I'm satisfied with it. Seems to be, I don't see any other way that Sussex, New England, New Jersey, the bottom of this, because they deserve it. Like the organizational, not the players, not even the managers. It's the organizations as a whole, and the league, frankly, have allowed such a disorganized approach and like an unserious approach that it's just, if one of them snuck into the playoffs, I would just be like, what are we rewarding here? I'm okay with them just getting pretty much buried constantly. I mean, all 3 of them would be behind Windy City if they were in the West and Evansville. Like, is that out of pocket? Like, I don't want to say that I'm rooting against teams.
No, like, but it is like
someone has to come in last.
Observed, okay, it is in the correct order.
That's true. Yeah.
You get what you earn. That's what they've earned so far. But
plus, it'd be a cool story if it's all the Canadian teams in one. Now I got to figure out if maybe I'll go cover it, but I got to figure out if I'm allowed in Canada first. That's been an ongoing saga.
We're gonna have to go ahead and get that passport situation straightened out.
I'm gonna have to make some calls, my guy.
I got to call my local Mountie representative. Pioneer League.
Never mind. I'll bring that up later. Pioneer League, yeah. Stays interesting. I mean, to an extent. I mean, that playoff race is fascinating. Are we 100% sure it's 2 teams make it out of the first half?
Yes.
Okay.
Missoula's
Oakland had a bad week. That's a tough one. How many
games? Are you going to call this a 3-team or 4-team race for this last spot?
Hold on. How many games are left?
I don't know exactly.
Yeah. They should be playing 48. So that means
5 games roughly.
Yeah, about 5 games to go.
I'm going to call it a 3. I don't think, but I can't put Boise in it. I think Boise's falling out.
Who Boise's playing right now. Boise's playing Glacier right now, so I say they're in it.
Okay, I'm only consider that.
But you know what I mean? They sweep them, they're very much in it. But they're going to have to pull off a miracle. I don't think they do it. I think Glacier's well constructed as a team, but
do we know who Oakland?
They already beat them once. Let me check. Oakland. And by the way, yeah, I mean, Boise did handle business in game 1 against Glacier. They said a very mistimed 6-game set against Missoula, which, God, dude, Missoula is just, they're playing 6-game series and basically teams are just chalking up 4 to 5 losses. Unreal. Anyway, Oakland is waiting for it to load. Okay. Oakland. Oh, wow. Yeah, they do just have the first half. Okay, cool. They're playing Great Falls, but they did lose game 1 of Great Falls. Oakland, babies, what are we doing? Get it together. And I know Oakland and I have a weird thing. I think it's good for both the league and for Oakland if Oakland gets in. So, and for Indy Bowl. So whatever. True. Putting in a serious effort and making the playoffs is a good thing. And then they have months to advertise. Noco is playing Grand Junction. Oh boy. Boy, does that put Glacier and Boise in a precarious spot, huh?
Sure does when you've got the other 2 playing the bottom
feeders of the league. Grand Junction. Boy. High pressure. Like Glacier seriously probably can only afford to lose one of these to Boise.
This actually is a really good race coming down the stretch here.
This is awesome. This is really good.
It's a shame that we're not going to talk about this one.
I'm mad that I was on vacation. I mean, I'll be on. Check my Instagram, but damn. I should do a playoff outpost on that one.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would assume NoCo probably has the best odds in because they have the easiest opponent with the fewest schemes to make up.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I got to figure.
It's just that second odd. I don't know if Glacier would be ahead of Oakland or not.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's when I think it gets a little trickier because Oakland definitely has an easier opponent, but they also got to make up more games.
Right. Let's see here. I don't know. Well, I don't know. That'll be a different thing. I'll probably post it on my Instagram in an hour or two, but it's going to take a little while to do that math, and you don't want to just stare at me doing that because you got things to do. Yeah. But yeah, that is a very interesting race, dude. That is. I don't envy I don't envy anybody involved in that, because then talk about pressure. Like Oakland just dropped their first one to Great Falls. It's like, bro, what are we doing? Oh God.
Which fun little annoying fact: you can't sort by average on for the attendance on the Pioneer Lake site.
Yeah, I mean,
the non-sortable tables here are really killing me.
Don't sucker me into that conversation right now.
Although it does appear 1, 2, 3. 3 teams from the bottom is what Oakland is. They are third from the bottom in attendance for average.
All right, if it's accurate.
If it's accurate. In fairness, it's only as of the 7th, so it looks like they do some sort of weekly update.
Interesting. So, want me to go about it?
We're trying to doctor the numbers if need be.
God, dude. All right.
I'm just saying. I mean, like, we know people are fudging.
I'll allow it. Yeah.
It's to what degree are they? Like, for example, Three Rivers says they're drawing 1,400 a game. I think that's probably pretty close to accurate. I think maybe a little embellishment, but I'm willing to buy that that's roughly a correct number. Then you have like the New England knockouts, for example, here, which I don't know if they broke 1,000 yet. And they say they're averaging 999 or 994 a game.
They haven't broken, dude. Maybe the one time they had like a promotion, they had a bunch of like young people, like kids there, as far as I can tell. And they basically had no staff for it. Like they weren't prepared. It was a mess. But dude, no, their attendance. So, I mean, this is the teaser of the video I'm working on. I mean, the inside info is essentially like, they, before a game, looking at tickets, like their map was basically like there was like 3 or 4 sections of just, I mean, hundreds of seats just empty. And then all of a sudden they were all unavailable. So basically just not for sale. Yeah. So that's the type of thing we're dealing with. That's probably third quarter of the stadium, maybe. And it was, I mean, very few tickets were sold in the rest of the sections. I mean, I'm talking a few per section. And then the reported attendance was over 2,000. I haven't gotten to the video of that one yet, but I'm about to be there. It's like, I almost respect the straight up cojones to lie that, obviously, just to be like, no one will notice. No, to say, to see, I can't imagine what their stream numbers are. It got to be terrible for them to be like, nah, no one will notice on the stream.
They won't notice, and even if they do, they won't care. Yeah. Well, that's where you're wrong.
Right.
Any other thoughts on the Pioneer League?
No, but now I'm fully engrossed in doing the playoff odds, so that will screw my whole afternoon. So appreciate that.
You're welcome. I think that brings us to the end of this week's show. You mentioned a bunch of stuff. Want to just summarize it here and do your plugs, and then we can get out of here? Yeah, sure. Instagram, doing daily recaps again starting tomorrow. Now I'm back from vacation. It's Indie Ball Nation. Everything's Indie Ball Nation. Twitter, it's just chaos, Indie Ball Nation there. YouTube, Indie Ball Nation. Going to be doing a little bit of an attendance deep dive and doing probably some all-star talk on that one, which should be fun. And then I'm missing something. Oh yeah, on most major podcast platforms. I'll be dropping a podcast Friday and then probably again on Monday. So fun stuff. Indie Ball Nation. I was going to say that new schedule's working out great for you. I should not have dropped that the moment I went on vacation, but I had to get it out there so I could just be like, now it's out there in front of people. I have to commit to it. I have to commit to it. Now, next week. I have to commit to this. Now, look at this wild horse. Honestly, yeah. That's a good read. Good Outback knowledge. At Indie Ball Pod, Indie Ball Report, everywhere else. Yeah, everyone knows the point now. I don't promise content because I know I won't stick with it, so that's that. I'm going to enjoy the beach. I'm going to enjoy doing playoff numbers, and you won't enjoy listening to this episode. But until next time, don't forget to play ball.